Welcome to the West Virginia Innovation and Business Model Competition. On behalf of my colleagues Olin York and Tricia Ball from the Brad D. Smith Schools of Business at Marshall University, this is Jeremy Turner, and I'll be your host. The purpose of today's video is to take you through a competition overview, starting with what is the WVI-BMC, moving on to why does it matter, and most importantly, probably to you, is how do you succeed at the WVI-BMC. So what is the West Virginia Innovation and Business Model Competition? Firstly, it's a virtual statewide business model competition. And if you're not familiar with the phrasing business model, that's okay. You'll learn quite a lot more about that as we go along. This competition is designed to enhance and absolutely not replace other current initiatives that are occurring on your campus, in your community, or across the state, such as the statewide business plan competition. This competition is for student teams from any 2- or 4-year institution across the state. And this is not just a theoretical exercise. The entire focus of this competition should be on designing real businesses. Again, not a theoretical exercise. We want you to focus on designing real businesses. So let's talk about why this competition matters. Well, first, we want to encourage more student entrepreneurial activity all across our state. Entrepreneurship is a verb. It's something that you do. And with entrepreneurship, in order to grow and improve and continue to hone your craft, you've got to do this. You can't simply read about it. And so this competition is designed to give you an opportunity to practice and grow and learn in your entrepreneurial knowledge and experience. We want to encourage more startup activity. So as a result of each of you practicing and honing your craft, we would love to see more actual startup businesses. And not just any kind of businesses, durable businesses that are built to last, and businesses that are investable, that are attractive to the investment pool out there. There are investors with money that seek businesses in which to invest. We want you to create more businesses such as that. When you have more student activity and more startup activity, this leads to community and economic impact that's great for our entire state. And for you specifically, we want this competition to be an opportunity for you to realize personal and professional growth. This should be an opportunity for you to network with other students and with subject matter experts and service providers across our state and beyond. And for some fortunate winners, there is a cash component that we'll talk about here in a little bit. So let's get to the meat of this presentation today and talk about how do you succeed in the West Virginia Innovation and Business Model Competition. First, there's an amount of work that you're going to have to put in. This is a process that we've laid out that takes place over a period of time, and it will not be enough for you to simply show up and breeze through this process. There will be a certain requirement of work, of investment of your time and effort. We want you to maintain a certain intellectual curiosity throughout this process and beyond. Curiosity is your great human superpower. We want you to aim that curiosity towards solving a problem that is meaningful, a problem that you can fall in love with, that matters. Because when you do that, when you find a problem that you love, that you truly wish to solve, then you can embrace the failure that is absolutely going to occur. You will make mistakes. We want you to embrace that so that you see failure as an opportunity to learn and to begin again more intelligently. Failure is not a person. We want you to seek help when you need it. You've got many resources that will be made available to you through digital resources and human beings on your campus and beyond. Please seek help when you need it. But maintain your focus. As I said at the outset today, this competition is all about designing real businesses. This is not a theoretical exercise. So as far as this competition, what is this? Well, it's a blend of many current entrepreneurial best practices to include design thinking, which is all about empathy and human-centered design and ensuring that there's a deep understanding of the people or the group of that you're trying to solve problems for, so that you can, if you understand their problems, you can design meaningful solutions. This is based on business modeling, which is all about structure. It's about looking at the skeleton or the DNA level of the organization, of the business that you try to design here, so that if you understand the core components, the structure, and you see how it is that each of these components interact with one another, you can have a greater, more in-depth understanding of business in general and your business in specific, so that you can make adjustments as needed and design well. And of course, lean startup, which is all about failing fast. So not only are we going to suggest that you embrace failure, but we're going to encourage you to fail quickly, so that you're not spending excess time and resources on a problem that doesn't matter, or designing a solution that no one cares about. We want you to work through your learning process and fail quickly, so you can move forward more intelligently. So as far as how businesses are designed, there are organic businesses that just pop up, but we want to teach you a process for designing a business. And so on this screen, you'll see a workflow, a process that goes from firstly becoming aware of a problem that really bugs you. It's something that truly gets under your skin and causes you frustration and perhaps physical pain or financial pain. And then you begin to think about how are some ways that you could solve that problem for yourself. And you realize, well, if this is a problem for you, then perhaps this is a problem that other people may have. And if it's a problem other people may have, then perhaps your solution could be marketable to these other folks as well. You work through a process to verify that there are indeed other people who are bugged by this, and now you know who they are. And you've taken time to test your solution to make sure it actually does fit the problem. It solves the problem or squashes the bug. You've determined and verified that your solution does indeed work for the particular group of people for whom you're trying to solve a problem. You've also verified that your solution will compete within the marketplace. And you know exactly how to deliver your product or service to the marketplace. And then finally, after much of your effort, you've determined that based on your business model components, that you've designed a business that could actually work. You've gone through and verified these various core elements of your business. You've tested them, and you've proven with some certainty that your business could actually work in the real world. So some key components that we want to make sure that we cover. These are areas where many times entrepreneurs have gone awry. I've mentioned before that you should be focused on solving a problem, and not just any problem, but successful businesses solve problems that are meaningful. And meaningful could mean a couple of different things. It could be that it causes great pain, either physical pain or emotional pain. There's a financial cost to this, or there are tons of people that have this particular problem. So we're going to teach you how to define what is meaningful and how to find meaningful problems, just to highlight here. And you have to remain passionate about discovering a solution. This problem has to mean something to you. Because failure is involved and there's work involved in this process, if you don't care about the problem, then any excuse to quit will do. You've got to find problems that are meaningful and meaningful to you, so that you can remain intellectually curious and passionate about solving the problem. So thinking about what is your idea. So you've defined a problem and you've got an idea for how to solve the problem. Considering who has these problems, how are they solving this problem right now? Are they completely ignoring the problem and that's their solution, which would not be a good alternative? Or is there another product or service on the market? Maybe yours is better, but there's another product or service on the market already that is designed to solve this problem. So you want to consider good and bad alternatives. And then you want to deploy both divergent and convergent thinking. Divergent, you want to come up with many ideas. What are some other possible solutions to this problem that you've identified? And then convergent, how can you tighten up and get more laser focused on perhaps the best or the idea that you truly want to move forward with? And based on that, what is the most critical problem or most critical few problems that are solved by your solution for this problem you've identified? So by using divergent and convergent thinking, it opens up your mind a bit and allows you to get beyond what is called the innovator's bias of where you fall in love with your solution. We want you to stay in love with the problem, not the solution. So, you can have a great idea that solves a problem, but you have to identify, is there an opportunity for this in order for it to be a business? Otherwise, it's a hobby. So thinking about who has this critical problem or these critical problems, who are these human beings? What's the subset of the total population? How can you describe them? Who would be first in line or very early in line to purchase your product or service? And of all the different options of subsets of the population who might purchase your product or service, who's first? Who is your primary customer segment? Because when you focus on everything, you focus on nothing. Who's your primary? Let's talk a little bit about business model development. Business models and business modeling those are phrasings that you may not be familiar with, and you're going to learn about those items as we work through the process of this competition. Within business modeling, there are various tools that you can use, one of which is shown here on the screen. The concept of which is to take a business and a business idea, break it down into its core elements, its DNA level, and then use this visual mapping tool, such as you see here, to take what's going on inside your head, dump it out onto a piece of paper, and then see where the gaps are and map out your thought processes. See what is missing, perhaps, and see how the various elements or core components of your business model interact with one another. This is a place where you're taking your various hypotheses, parking them, so that you can then go test them and adjust as needed. You will be working through a rapid idea development process as you test, firstly state your hypotheses, your educated guesses, and then go and test them through various processes that we'll be teaching you throughout this contest. This process is meant to be fluid and iterative, and this document is meant to be a living, breathing document because, again, you're making educated guesses, you're stating hypotheses, and as you learn more, then you're going to make adjustments to the various elements of your business model, and move forward more intelligently. So this on the screen here, this is the Lean Canvas. This is the tool that we'll be using throughout this competition. So who do you wish to serve? Hugely important. You can't be your only customer. So in thinking about who out there, if we look at the total available population, what's a subset? Everyone can't be your customer. No matter how great your product or service is, everyone is not your customer. So getting specific, who is your customer? And more specifically, this customer segment concept, which is a definable, describable subset of the population. And you can use a couple different methods to segment. You can use demographics, such as race or sex. You can use geographics, such as where are these people located. Psychographics, which is beliefs and values and motivations. And behavior, how do these people act? How often, for example, might they purchase a product or service such as you have to offer? And within this customer segment or these customer segments, there are going to be subsets of the customer segment who are these early adopters. These are some of the very first people who would stand in line to purchase the new iPhone or to purchase your novel product or service. And so it's really important to understand who these folks are as a subset of your customer segment. Entrepreneurs are tasked with doing three things: creating value, delivering value, and recouping value. More about this as we go along, but as far as providing or creating value, what value are you providing? You'll make a value proposition statement, which is, again, a hypothesis that you have to go test. And there's various ways that you can test this value proposition and different aspects of the value proposition that you'll seek to test, such as the problem. Is the problem really a problem, or is it a symptom? Is it even compelling? Your solution, does it really solve the problem, or is it a Band-Aid? Is it novel, or is it just like everything else? The price that you're proposing, is this a price that would people spend this kind of money on your product or service? Is it too high or too low? Your go-to market hypothesis, how will you deliver your value? Rapid prototyping as well. So as you are designing your business, your product or service, creating really rough and tumble prototypes to demonstrate your product or service to your defined customer segment, especially those early adopters, so that you can see what mistakes you've made. What have you done well? What needs to be adjusted? These prototypes are meant to be rough. They can be napkin drawings. They can be rough websites. They can be PowerPoints. They can be physical structures built with cardboard and popsicle sticks and tape. They aren't meant to be pretty. They're meant to embody some of the very basic elements of this product or service that you're seeking to offer, so that you can get feedback from the people to whom you seek to sell this product or service. And that way you can move through what's called a feedback loop, where you build something, you go and test it, and you measure the feedback, and you see what you learn, and you make adjustments as you go along. You'll address the failures that you've made, learn from your failures, take your learnings and put those into the next iteration, the next version of your prototype, and then go through and test again. And at any point, you've really got a number of options. You can pivot, you can iterate, you can persevere. A pivot is a major change, iteration is a minor adjustment, or you persevere because you're absolutely on the right track and you've proven that. You can move forward more confidently. So let's define some terms that I've thrown out already, but I want to make sure that you understand what these words mean so that you can keep these terms in mind throughout the competition. So defining desirable. If you're tasked with designing a desirable, feasible, viable, durable, and investable business, what does that mean? So desirable, this is a business or a product or a service that's actually wanted, needed, and you've proven that. It's feasible, meaning you can actually execute on this. You have the knowledge and experience or skill set to actually do what it is that you propose. It's financially viable. It makes sense. You're showing how you make money doing this, not losing money. It's built to last, which means it's durable. It's not something that you'll launch today and it's gone tomorrow. And it's investable. It's attractive to investors. We're going to go through with you as this competition progresses what each one of these means in more detail. As far as steps and milestones, there are very defined steps throughout this competition. I hit those at a high level earlier, and there are different milestones and outcomes as you move from an idea to a validated, verified business model. When it comes to the institutional qualifying event that is first in this competition process, and I'll talk more about that shortly, we want you to hit something called problem solution fit. And again, we'll get into more detail about that. There's a gap in between the quarter qualifying event and the finals event, where you're going to do additional work as you work towards validating your business model. So work doesn't stop at the qualifier event. It should actually continue. So if you're selected as your institution's winner and you're selected to move on to the finals, there's additional work to do as you move up and move towards the finals. More on that as we go along. As far as eligibility and format, the teams from any 2- or 4-year college, university, institution in West Virginia, teams should be made up of between 1 and 5 students, although we would highly encourage you to have 2 or more members of your team. A number of reasons why. One is you're sharing the work. This competition will require an amount of investment from you for your time and effort. And so it's best that you share that among 2 or more people. In addition, when you have more people in the team, you bring in different personalities and skill sets and experience levels that can help inform your business, your product and service, and help you design a better business. Interdisciplinary teams are encouraged. So this is not simply about being from a college or a school of business on your campus. It's any student within the 2 or 4 year institution. So consider that as you're thinking about your team. What kind of dream team can you put together from across your campus? Each college or university will host a local qualifying competition, and teams will present their innovation story, which is meant to be an 8-minute virtual presentation followed by 3 minutes of Q&A. Each institution will select one team to advance to the final competition, and it's the same format from the qualifying round at your institution to the finals round. We've maintained this consistency for you, and the final competition will pit winners from each college or university, again using the same presentation format. The event structure looks like this. Each institution must hold their event prior to March 20. These are virtual events, so these will be virtual presentations. Teams should present for a maximum of 8 minutes, followed by 3 or so minutes of question and answer from the judging panel. This judging panel should have business knowledge and or experience, and they'll use a rubric that we've created to make sure that there's consistency from each institutional event to the finals event. It's the same rubric. Each institution's winning team must submit their final PowerPoint deck to us at Marshall University by April 10th. And the final competition will be virtual. It will be hosted by Marshall University and will be held on April 13th of 2021. Here's a visual look at the competition timeline. We have now launched. The institutional qualifying event must have occurred by March 20. By April 10th, again, we must receive all PowerPoint presentations from each institution's winning team. The finals will be held virtually on April 13th, where first place is $3,000, which is a mix of cash and professional services. As we said from the outset today, the design of this competition is for you to create real businesses. This is not a theoretical exercise. Yes, we want to reward you financially for your hard work and dedication. However, we also want to put professional services in front of you that can help you take your business idea and actually launch and grow a real business. So keep that in mind throughout this entire competition. And based on participation from various schools, other prizes and awards to be determined will be announced. The judging rubric, I want to make sure we hit that quickly. You'll see a copy of this. We don't want there to be any surprises. So 10 criteria upon which you're judged. Number 1 is the problem. Is it a clear and compelling problem that you're seeking to solve? The solution, is it novel and different in some way? Who is your specific target that you're trying to sell to, for whom you're trying to solve this problem? How will you deliver your solution? That's your channel. What's your strategy for ensuring that you're delivering value? Who else is out there competing with you, whether it's a great alternative or not? Someone else is out there and operating on the same problem that you've chosen. What value have you created? What's your value proposition? How will you make money to show that this is a financially viable business? And then what's your overall story? How did you choose your problem? What's happened along the way as you work through the validation process? What failure points have you hit? What pivots have you made and why? If you move on with your idea, what are those next steps? And if you win money, how would you use those funds? So folding in various elements into your story, very important. More on this as we move along. Empathy. Have you sought to truly understand the human beings involved in this process, involved in the problem that you've identified? If you understand the human beings then and the problems that they truly have, then you can find deep insights that are actionable to help you design a novel solution. And generally, how prepared are you? How prepared are you overall? In looking at the PowerPoint deck that you've put together, is it designed well? How did you deliver it? Does it seem as though you've practiced, or did you just get up and wing it? So overall preparedness. How will we support you throughout this process? Well, firstly, we've partnered with your institution. We are providing many materials to you, such as this intro and an overview video, in addition to many other created and curated pieces of content and workshops and trainings to enhance what your institution is already doing. Their primary role is to facilitate the institutional event, the qualifying event there on your campus or from your campus, and to ensure that logistically that everything goes off without a hitch at the qualifying event level, and ensure that you're prepared for the finals event. And so we've partnered with your institution. There'll be, as I said, workshops and trainings. We'll be sharing curated and created content, tools and guides for you. And we, meaning the team at Marshall and your institution's team, we're available for questions and concerns to address those, and any additional support that you may need on a case-by-case basis. So make sure that you reach out if you do need help. You may have questions following this brief overview, and that's great. We want to answer your questions. We would first direct you to visit the competition website. The link here is marshall.edu/West Virginia Innovates, and that way you can see more information than what is contained within this video. If you still have questions, please contact your institution's competition team. And then from there, either your institution will contact us or you can contact us directly, and that way we can answer your questions and address your concerns. We look forward to meeting you and interacting with you throughout this competition. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we wish you all the best. Good luck.